About a week ago, myself and 4 friends went to Iceland to take some pictures and see some awesome landscapes. The whole trip started off on what I guess you'd call day 0, which was mainly spent actually getting to Iceland, and then after that we went and picked up our rental car and went and got some groceries, and then we went off to retrieve Charlie's drone from this really cool photographer, which I won't explain because it's a long story, but if you're interested, definitely go and check out Charlie's videos on this topic from his last trip and explaining this now. Then after this we went to Kex, which is this hostel which has a nice bar, and it was a jazz night and we had some beers. We stayed about 40 minutes away from Reykjavik, and when we woke up in the morning we were greeted by these amazing 2 dogs, which somehow we named Batman and Dave. I think definitely one of the things I most took away from the trip was how awesome Icelandic dogs are. They're just so fluffy, it was pretty awesome. After a good amount of playing with the dogs and eating some skyr, we headed out to what was the second tallest waterfall in Iceland. We basically just went there to go on a big hike and take some photos because it was quite close to where we were staying. On the way there we drove past this really cool wreckage which we stopped off at. It's not really the thing that I normally take pictures of, but for some reason this really stuck out to me. And I actually really like the photos that I took there. It was this cool, we don't actually really know what it was, but it kind of looked like a train track that had kind of fallen in on this lake. We then carried along to the start point of our roughly 3-hour long hike, which led all the way up to this amazing waterfall. The walk was pretty amazing. It went through a cave, which was pretty cool, and to some cool vantage points along the river. The only thing I would say is it was a bit of an underwhelming end. I'd like to have ended at the bottom of the waterfall and looked up at how tall it was instead of being at the top kind of looking at it going down, but I mean, what can you do? Even so, it was a pretty awesome day. Saw some really cool things and enjoyed the walk. After this we just headed out to the supermarket to stock up again and pretty much just passed out straight after that to get ready for the next day. So on our second proper day we were treated to a pretty insane day out with Benjamin Hardman, who is a photographer who lives in Iceland. He took us to some of the lesser visited spots that were really amazing. Part of the fun was actually getting to these places. Driving through rivers and all these off-road things, it was pretty cool. The first spot we hit up was this mountain that was really amazing, such a tall, cool shape, and it started snowing just as we got there, which definitely played into the cool factor. We then walked up a bit further to what I think was a glacier, or the start of one at least, which has been receding. Kind of walked up this river and took some pictures. There was this amazing icicle there, which I definitely didn't capture well enough. It was very grand, but I was using quite a wide angle lens, so I don't think I did that justice. We then drove a bit further through these rivers, etc., to a place called the Volcano Huts, which was pretty cool. We went there for lunch, and it was this kind of resort where you could go and stay, and they had nice amenities. And then Charlie decided to climb this big rock, and we all soon followed. Definitely one of the scarier things we climbed. It was covered in ice and was a bit tricky, but that was good fun. We then had fun with the other facilities at the huts, such as breaking ice and the most serene swing you've ever seen. Soon after this we were called out because an Arctic fox had been spotted, which was something that I didn't think I'd get to see. That was really cool. Once again though, I think I was using a bit too wide of a lens, that not necessarily the best photo you could have got at it, but I did what I could. Driving back we had this really awesome sunset that just kind of graced the tips of the mountains, which definitely made the drive home more enjoyable. After hitting up Kex again for some food, we were treated to an amazing display of the Northern Lights, which admittedly I probably should have taken a photo of, but I was too busy kind of soaking it in with my eyes. I really couldn't be bothered to set up the tripod in the cold. So here's a few really bad JPEGs I shot on my video camera. So the next and our final day we spent the morning in Reykjavik. We hit up Reykjavik Roasters, which was really nice, and then we went to this awesome bakery where I definitely had the best pastry that I've ever had, this cinnamon, very dense thing. It was awesome, a very good way to stock up for a long drive. Just over halfway through the drive we stopped off to see some ponies, which was pretty fun. And soon after that we arrived at this big waterfall, where this time you could actually get close to the bottom and look up at it, which was just what I wanted the first day I guess. However, I didn't take any pictures because it was a bit wet and definitely would have impeded my camera, so here's just video footage of the waterfall. It was pretty good. After some more driving, we arrived at our destination, which was the Black Beaches, and they were incredibly treacherous. It was hurricane force winds, and the kind of grit just sprayed up at you and really hurt, and the wind was so strong that it could actually push you over. It was pretty insane. So this was another time where I decided to not bring my camera with me, because it definitely would have eaten a good amount of sand and got very wet. So I decided it was not worth sacrificing my camera's life for the Black Beach photo. We then had a lovely hot drink in the cafe and headed on the long drive back, which was pretty rainy and miserable, but I'm thinking about it, that was actually pretty much the end of the journey. We had to get up at 5 AM the next morning to go to the airport, so I think that's pretty much it. I had a great time, it was good fun. I'd definitely like to go back and photograph more of not landscapes. I really enjoy being there and experiencing the landscapes, they're just not my favourite photos that I've come back with. My favourite photos are the ones of the swing, and inside the car rental, and inside the volcano huts. I'd like to go and explore more of what it's actually like to live in Iceland as opposed to just what a waterfall looks like. Other than that, I'd like to thank Paramo for keeping me warm and Bayer for keeping my film developed. If you're wondering, all the pictures were taken on a Mamiya 7 with the 65mm on Fuji Pro 400H. I did not edit any of them. This is just how they came out. Hopefully you enjoyed this. There'll be a new video next week. Goodbye.